right, it's time we talk about a little bit of a subject that is near and dear to my heart a little bit, is because I spent 10 years in the fire service along with being a first responder as well. So I spent a lot of time in the back of the ambulances, and I spent a lot of time on the truck. That's for sure. I am actually made it to an instructor level. I'm very fortunate to be taught by some of the most charismatic and the smartest people probably in my area. I was very fortunate to learn from, and all respects goes out to them. This is just my take on the fire service, and it's a little bit of funny stuff. And hopefully, if you're thinking about getting into the fire service, you really sit down and you think about a lot what I'm about to talk about in this video. Everyone loves firefighters, and we're the only profession that gets cheered just for showing up. Yeah, you ever seen anyone clap when their plumber walks in? But a firefighter walks into Walmart in a uniform. That used to be one of my favorite things to do. Buying milk and frozen pizza, and suddenly we're like celebrities, and kids want pictures, and strangers nod at you, and someone always yells out, "Thank you for your service. You're welcome." And I appreciate it, really do. But let's just be honest. You don't actually want to know what's in my card. Because while you're picture me as this shredded, which look at me, I'm kind of buff. I got man boobies. Heroic lifesaver, the reality is I'm standing there in line at 2 a.m. holding 3 cases of Red Bull, a gallon of chocolate milk. That's firefighting. We equal parts Superman and college freshman who forgets how to cook. When you tell people you're a firefighter, their eyes always light up. Wow, you must save lives every day. And I don't want to disappoint them, okay? Truth, at least half the time, I'm basically an underpaid raccoon removal service. Oh, there's smoke in the neighborhood. Call 911. It smells like burnt toast. Call 911. My cat won't come down from the tree. Call 911. I don't want to deal with your cat, though, to be honest with you. And listen, cats, I've climbed a tree in full gear, swatting like a rotisserie chicken, only for the cat to look me dead in the eye, hiss, and climb higher. I'm dangling off a branch like, I think your cat actually lives here now. I'm risking my life to go save your pussycat. Thank God for ladder trucks, so that helped over the years. Now, life in the firehouse. Now, let's talk about the firehouse. People imagine it like an action movie where shiny trucks, heroic men sliding down poles every 10 minutes. The reality is, it's like a weird college dorm where everyone's cranky and overcaffeinated and slightly lactose intolerant. The kitchen is a nightmare. There's always that one guy who thinks he's Gordon Ramsay whipping up gourmet pasta, and then there's that rookie who somehow managed to set Jell-O on fire. Do you know how hard it is to set Jell-O on fire? We fight structure fires for a living, but half of us can't even run an air fryer without the smoke alarm going off. Sleeping at the firehouse is just pure chaos. You haven't known terror until you tried falling asleep in a room full of grown men who snore like malfunctioning chainsaws. I once woke up at 3 a.m. thinking someone was choking to death. Nope, it was just Steve inhaling drywall in his sleep. The calls. Now, don't get me wrong. There are emergencies, and they are brutal, okay? Most of the calls are absolutely ridiculous. We've been called because someone's smoke detector wouldn't stop beeping. You know why? The battery was low. We've been called because a guy got his hand stuck in a Pringles can. That is not an emergency, sir. That is a Darwin Award nomination. And yes, people call 911 for spiders. Actual spiders. Imagine me rolling up in a $500,000 fire engine, lights flashing, neighbors staring, and all I do is kill a daddy long leg with my shoe. Well, it's my boot, not my shoe, but you get my drift. But here's the thing. Behind all the funny stories, the raccoons, the burritos, the Pringles cans, there are calls you never forget. Because yes, sometimes it's a spider, but sometimes it's a child who doesn't make it. Sometimes it's a car wreck that looks just like your brother's car, and sometimes it's an overdose you can't reverse. And those calls, you don't shake them off. They turn into your brain like smoke in your clothes. That's the real fire, the one that nobody sees, the one that doesn't burn houses. It burns people from the inside out. Now let's talk about what firefighting does to your body. Everyone sees the heroics, the charging into the flames, the pulling of the hoses, carrying people out, but they don't see the smaller toll. Shift work wrecks you. You miss meals, you miss sleep, you live on adrenaline and vending machine snacks. You come home after 24 hours and your kids want to play, but your body feels like it just lost a bar fight. And here's a fun statistic. Firefighters are 14 times more likely to develop cancer than the general public. Because yeah, we wear gear, but you cannot inhale smoke. You can't unbreathe burning plastic. Also, cardiac arrest, that's the #1 killer for firefighters. Not the flames, not the collapse, your own heart. Because eventually years of stress, exhaustion, and adrenaline, they just catch up to you. So yeah, tough, but the job breaks you down. One alarm, one sleepless night, one cheeseburger at 2 a.m. at a time. Here's what people don't realize. It's not the big cinematic calls that haunt you. It's the little human ones. It's Christmas morning when you respond to a suicide and the tree lights are still twinkling. It's the toddler's shoes left in the street after a crash. Trauma in this job isn't one giant wound. It's thousands of paper cuts on your soul, and one day you realize you're bleeding out inside. And you carry that home, which doesn't fit in well in a living room. Your spouse asks, "How was work?" And you don't know how to say, "I scraped a teenager off the highway today." And so you just say it was fine. You stop talking, or worse, you start snapping. Little things set you off. You avoid family gatherings because you don't want to hear, "Tell us a fire story." You physically there, but emotionally absent. And the people you love start to feel like strangers. Divorce rates are higher, alcohol abuse is higher, and tragically, suicide rates are higher in fact. In recent years, more firefighters have died by suicide than in the line of duty. That's the fire no one sees. You may be saying, now why don't firefighters just get help? Well, fire service has a culture, and the culture is tough. You don't complain, you don't cry, you don't admit weakness. If you break your leg, you get sympathy. If you say, I can't sleep because I keep seeing the dead child's face, suddenly everyone gets uncomfortable. For decades, mental health was treated like a weakness, and shake it off, tough it out, grab a beer. That's what that therapy was. Get back on the truck is what they always used to tell me. So how do we cope? Humor, and lots of it. Let's just say it wouldn't fly at an HR meeting at work. There's dark jokes, there's pranks, there's sarcasm, because if you can laugh about it, even for a second, it feels survivable. Been on a call where we pulled a guy out of a hot tub, and tragically, he didn't make it. And as we're standing there devastated, one of the crew mutters, "Well, at least he went out relaxed." And you hate yourself for laughing. But if you don't laugh, you cry. And crying in a firehouse is harder than dragging a 200-pound man up 3 flights of stairs. People always say, but firefighters are so resilient. And yeah, but resilience is not invincibility. Imagine a bucket. Every traumatic call is a rock dropped inside. 1 rock, 2 rocks, 10 rocks, and eventually it overflows. Resilience is learning to carry the bucket, but without help, without outlets, without systems, you drown in it. So what needs to be changed? First, the culture. We need to normalize saying, "I'm not okay." We need to make mental health checkups as routine as physical ones. Second, support. Not just EAP pamphlets in the break room, real therapists who get first responders, peer support teams, safe spaces to unload. Third is awareness, because the public loves to call us heroes, but the heroes are still human beings. And here's the thing. I don't regret being a firefighter. For all the trauma, all the sleepless nights, all the burritos and the raccoon rescues. I've seen people on their worst days of their lives. This job can destroy you, but it can also teach you what matters: brotherhood, service, courage, dark, wildly inappropriate humor. And maybe that's the message for everyone. You don't have to be a firefighter to understand trauma. Life throws its own fires at you. Divorce, illness, love, and like us, you have to carry it. Sometimes you laugh, and sometimes you cry, and sometimes you just eat a burrito at 3 a.m. and hope for the best. You got 47 of them, I might as well. But you don't have to carry it alone, because the fire that burns inside of you, it doesn't have to consume you. It can also light the way forward. Anyways, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one.